Hello and welcome back to Finnish Firearms and History. I'm your host, Matt Dorizio, author of Finnish Maasinagat, 3-line rifle to Ukko-Pekka, and today we're going to be taking a look at this wonderful stock disc Carcano that we have to the left. Now, to the right is your typical pre-war Finnish brass unit disc, stock disc as I call them, and the Finns would have used these for pre-war units, artillery, logistics, infantry, pretty much everything. However, with the outbreak of the Winter War in 1939, there was a directive that went out and said that the Finns were supposed to stop using unit discs. However, they didn't completely cease. You'll see them again after the end of World War II with brass unit discs, and then you'll see them on these interesting Carcanos like this one I have here. Now this Carcano, and the title of the video, and I'm going to butcher this, so all my Finnish listeners, you can laugh at me here, but Linnoitustykistöpatteristo 6. That would be Fortress Artillery Battery 6, and we can see the disc here in the stock, and it's done in the exact same style as your typical Maasinagat stock disc. This is an M91 rifle with H Auto K or Helsinki Auto Compania, versus this being the Fortress Artillery Battery. And you can see it's a much more bare bones brass unit disc here. There's no letters denoting which unit is, and it took a fair amount of research to even figure out what that was. Initially, I thought it was an anti-aircraft artillery unit, but once I did some more research, it was actually a Fortress Artillery Battery, which each Finnish division had one of. And if we look at it here, we're going to see just a typical Finnish Carcano. Now, the Finns did buy about 100,000, just shy of it, 99,000 Carcanos from the Italians in 1940. They didn't get there in time to be used in the Winter War, but they did get used during the early phases of the Finnish Continuation War until the Finns captured enough Maasinagat rifles to more or less push these into reserve status. However, if you were a Finnish artilleryman, if you were in a Fortress Artillery Battery, anti-aircraft artillery unit, anything like that, you probably weren't going to be getting issued frontline stuff anyways, so you would have wound up with a Carcano here, and for whatever reason, Fortress Artillery Battery 6 decided to put a brass disc on them. So if you collect Finnish rifles and you collect Finnish Carcanos, you might think, oh, they all pretty much look the same. In this case, no. You can find one with a stock disc. Granted, I've seen about 6 or 7 of them out there my whole time collecting, and I've seen them with each number all the way up through 8 right there. This one is a 6, and no, I've had the opportunity to get one. This one is in the book, and we'll take a look lengthwise at these two rifles before we finish the video. Now, if you take a look again at the discs right here, you can see that they're roughly the same size. They're both made of brass. However, once again, the one on the bottom, there's a lot more work that went into putting it in there than the one on the top. The fit isn't perfect, but I've never messed around with this. It's been in that stock since it was imported by Interarms.